Jeff and Jeremy in the Morning podcast brought to you commercial free by another podcast. You've subscribed to ours, now subscribe to theirs. It's the Slow County Real Estate Podcast with Hal Swayze. When you're done with this, go listen to something that will actually enrich your life. California DRE 01111911.
Yesterday, we threw up a question on Facebook asking about warning labels. Does it change your behavior, your I don't know, your thoughts, your decision to maybe buy something? It was all stemming from the fact that a Surgeon General warning is now saying that drinking alcohol will raise your risk of cancer. Take a listen to this.
Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy released a report claiming that alcohol consumption is the third leading preventable cause of cancer in the United States. He says it's responsible for 100,000 cases of cancer and about 20,000 deaths every year.
Alcohol is really good at breaking down protein, and our whole body's made out of protein. And over time, it causes damage to cells, inflammation. It really, not just cancer, it causes more than 200 different diseases in the body, directly or indirectly.
And you said everything causes cancer. I mean, pretty much. There's many things that cause cancer.
Number three, alcohol is the number 3 cause for cancer. Number 1 is tobacco. Number 2 is food, the food that we're eating. Now, it's not the food that everybody eats. Like if you eat whole foods, if you eat, lots of stuff that isn't highly processed. But the highly processed stuff is number 2. So if you're prioritizing causes of cancer, why wouldn't you go after processed foods prior to going after alcohol? Well, it's been kind of a common theme this morning. We've been talking about lobbyists a lot. The food industry, and it is an industry in the United States, is not going to have that. The government's like, hey, man, dude, your processed foods are causing cancer. They'll be like, how much do we need to pay to not have warning labels on our food? Because that's a bad look.
So you're saying it's obviously not fair. But, I mean, it's just a warning label. I mean, it just says, hey, listen, there has been known. I'm okay with these warning labels because it's like, you look at it, you're like, okay, well, I'm still going to make my own decision. I know tobacco is something that causes cancer. I still get to decide to use it recreationally every once in a while. Probably should stop. Alcohol, same thing. I use it not daily, but recreationally. People wrote in on, and they said, well, no, it just makes me aware that my behavior is unhealthy. That's kind of how I feel. I only when the federal government tells me how to live my personal life. Well, I don't know if they're telling you how to live your life. I think they're just letting you know that there's a problem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean,
there could be a problem.
They don't bother me. They don't bother me that much because at the end of the day, I am.
So your argument isn't about whether the label is there or not. Your argument is more are they being fair about how they place it?
Exactly. Because if you're going to go that far down, why punish the alcohol industry? Because now, like we've talked about studies in the past where the Gen Z is afraid of alcohol because of something the CDC said during the pandemic, about alcohol consumption, and now they're deathly afraid of it to the point where when they go out, they don't drink, they smoke a bunch of weed, then they go out and then they socialize, and then they have mocktails. Mocktails are all the rage. Well, that's a big industry that you're harpooning with your message. Like, think of bartenders. I mean, it goes down to, small business, all that stuff. Leslie writes in on the Facebook post. She says, no, in fact, it does the opposite. She sees it as challenge accepted. I had a friend who, those, when you're driving down a road and then for whatever issue, the speed is an issue on that road. So they have the clock, they clock you to let you know how fast you're driving. right underneath the speed limit sign. I had a friend that once she would see that, she would speed up and drive as fast as she possibly could just to see how fast her car could go and get clocked. That's the problem with the warning labels, right?
Well, with some people, not everybody's on the up and up. New survey came out. They found the drunkest cities in America, and they went through the United States map, and they stated each city as which one would be the drunkest, that drinks the most alcohol per capita. And
isn't it? Let me guess. Is it Madison, Wisconsin?
No. Oh, no. This is just per state.
Oh, okay.
So
you said city.
Think of. I'm sorry, city in each state per state. So yes. So it's which city in California drinks the most?
Oh, I'm going to say
which city in Oregon drinks the most?
I'm going to say the city that drinks the most is either going to be San Diego or Los Angeles.
It's Chico, California.
Oh, okay.
Per capita.
Go state. Go state. Per capita. Per capita.
Wisconsin, by the way, it says all of them on this one. All of them. If you're from,
I gotta get to Wisconsin.
Oregon,
I wish I was younger. I should have done a trip to Wisconsin when I was younger.
A lot of these are college towns. Oregon, it's Corvallis, where Oregon State, not University of Oregon, but Oregon State University is. Go Pac-12. Boise in Idaho.
Pac-2.
Las Vegas is still in Nevada, the city that drinks the most.
Is Washington
in Arizona? It's Tempe, home of the Arizona Wildcats.
Is Washington Pullman?
I'm sorry, Arizona State Sun Devils. What's that?
Is Washington Pullman?
Washington. Why did you say that?
Because
yes, it is Pullman. It is.
It should. That'll change. That'll change now that there's no football team and there's no conference alignment.
There's still a football team, Jeff.
Okay.
Your favorite state of Florida?
Oh yeah, that's right. South Dakota State is transferring to Washington State. I heard about
they
that.
just hired the coach.
And the quarterback entered the portal. So we'll see.
Tallahassee, Florida.
Yeah, Florida State.
Yeah. Texas is Dallas.
So it's all not Texas. I was going to say it's all college kids, but Dallas, man, they drink.
Yeah.
For Dallas, for the number to be per capita and for it to be Dallas, that is huge because I think Dallas is like the third or fourth biggest city in the United States. That's a lot of drinking.
Yeah, get after it. Not worried about warning labels there in Texas.
No.
Where everything's a little
Tell me how to live my life.
Go-to-college.com.
Things we didn't get to in hashtag form with Jeff and Jeremy in the morning.
Hashtag lofty goals. President Trump speaking or soon to be President Trump. Well, he was president before, so I can call him President Trump right now.
Yes, you can. You sure can.
Okay, President Trump speaking from...
Unlike the news who just calls him Trump.
They don't even call it Mr. Trump. They just call him Trump.
Trump. Thank you.
Like he's Madonna or something.
Scripps. Thank you, Scripps.
For your journalistic integrity, Scripps Media. Yeah. He's speaking from Mar-a-Lago this morning. Lofty goals, the hashtag.
We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
Okay.
Which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America. What a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate.
You can't do that.
So it is. So I was looking at the map, and it is. He's right. It is appropriate.
Or
the United States has more.
For the whole thing.
Well, no, not the whole thing, but
about 90%.
I would say
60.
90. I would say 60 to 65. What? Yeah.
Hold on. Let me look again.
Yeah. Look at the map. The Gulf, the all encompassing part of the Gulf.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because the Baja comes down for a good portion of it.
You mean Yucatan? We're talking about the other Gulf, Florida, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas.
Yeah. Well, I didn't mean the Baja, but whatever. Mexico.
Bama, a little bit of Bama in there. It is about 65% coastline is America. So, I mean, if you're going to look at it like that.
I don't know about that. I don't know if I agree with that. Let's see here.
Is 65 enough to change the name of it? I love how this will be an uproar.
65. Okay, I would say 60, but yeah, I see what you're saying. It's much tighter than I thought it was to begin with.
And
because you've got like Monterey, Mexico,
which is a
just
huge
below
city.
South Padre Island, all the way down. It doesn't have a lot of names here. I don't think Tampico, all the way to Cancun.
Remember Tampico, the drink, the Kool-Aid?
Yes, I do. Yes,
with a little rum. That is the taste of pour.
Yeah. So you think he's joking?
I don't think he's joking. I think he says these things. Like, remember, Canada was going to become the 51st state. We were planning on purchasing Greenland for its natural resources. I believe he is making a statement. Remember when Charles came in and he was the replacement for Michael Scott on The Office?
Oh yes, and then Michael Scott started the Michael Scott Paper Company.
Yes, exactly. This is what's happening here. He's just coming in. He's carrying the big stick,
shaking
right?
things up a little bit.
Except for he doesn't speak softly and carry the big stick. He speaks pretty loudly and carries the big stick. So we'll have to see.
So far, he's already given more press conferences before he's even been president than Joe Biden did in 4 years.
Yes, and
Hey-o!
and Kamala Harris in 100 days. Yes, that is true.
Oh yes, and Kamala Harris. Well,
he did that,
gave like one.
He did that on night one, right after he won. When he brought
Hashtag mix up.
Dana White up on stage.
Pamela Anderson was confused as one of the Dixie Chicks, who apparently just go by chicks now after woke culture.
Yes.
Told them that, that it's racist to be called the Dixie Chicks. So they said, oh, God, buy our stuff. We're old and washed up, so we'll just go to the Chicks. So Pamela Anderson's on a flight, and apparently somebody thought she was one of the Dixie Chicks.
That's awesome.
This one time, I was on a flight, and this guy came up to me and said, do you know what this country's done for you? And I was like, oh my God, what have I done? He goes, and he kept on, and I was like, oh God. And then I would look back, him, and he'd be like, argh.
All she has to do is take off her top. Everybody's seen her boobs. It's like, I'm Pamela Anderson. Here, look. Oh, yeah, okay. We all saw that video.
Oh my God. And then this, stewardess had to handcuff him to the chair because he was trying to attack me. Yeah. And ended up, he thought I was a Dixie chick.
Okay, that's a lie.
Remember that whole Dixie chick thing?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I almost got killed on a plane.
Nobody was handcuffed and tied to a chair. That would have made national headlines, especially if they were threatening Pamela Anderson.
Well, this is back in the day. This is before, everybody had a cell phone and videotaped. So maybe not. I don't know. But you're right.
Think so. I mean, come on. It's so sad when the famous have to try to hang on to their fame. It's really sad.
And that goes full circle with that whole last story between Pamela and the Dixie Chicks. Today is World Gas Day. Hashtag let her rip.
Already celebrating.
GI doctors are reminding us that it's a lot better to let it rip than to hold it in.
Dude.
They say most people hold it in, they bottle it up, and they're around others in public because, they're uncomfortable. But, you got to just let it go because it could do damage to you. It's not good for your body. Maybe it's not a rupture or anything, but it's not good for you to hold it in. You got to let it go.
My wife made the best BLT last night. And it's one of these. It's one of these.
Made the best fart.
It was one of these. It's leading to me being celebrating today. That's why I've been celebrating all day, and it's early, so watch out, everyone. But it had. So what you do is you cut down to the middle of a tortilla. Then so that leaves kind of in quarters. It's like 2 quarters and then a half that are intact, right? So you drizzle a little sauce on one of the quarters, You put a little bit of we use spinach instead of lettuce. I think it works better with spinach because it's not going to get all soggy and like iceberg lettuce gets all soggy.
Oh, and then you fold it over, right?
You fold
this on.
you've seen it on like shorts or something, right? What do you do? I don't know what all those things are called. Facebook, YouTube,
yeah,
shorts?
short. I think shorts or something like that.
So
shorts.
Fold it over. Fold the mayonnaise over onto the lettuce. And then you take that side, and then you put a little Swiss cheese on the bottom, I guess, left corner of it. Fold that part over onto the Swiss cheese. Then you put your bacon, and you put a little bit of cheese in the bacon, too, to make it stay inside the thing. Just a little bit. And then you fold that over onto the bacon, and you just grill it like a grilled cheese sandwich, kind of, on both sides for, 45 seconds, high heat. Both sides, and then take it off the grill. It was the best BLT. Like, I will never eat a BLT on bread. Well, that's not true, because when you go to a restaurant and you're hankering for a BLT, they're not going to say, would you like that on a tortilla? Cooked the right way?
I understand.
Or would you like it on bread?
Probably a refreshing thing to do.
No, it's the
sourdough
best.
is the best.
It's the best. And what we did instead of mayonnaise, because my hatred for mayonnaise, is we mashed up a little avocado and spread it on the area with the mayonnaise. So good. Dude, so good. If you throw a little bit of turkey in that wouldn't be bad either.
Little onion.
No.
BLT with a little onion.
Get your onion off the freaking BLT.
Especially a red onion.
It's not called a BLOT, a blot.
How many farts does the average person let go a day, Jeff?
I would say 12.
You would be shorts. It's more. It's 23.
Whoa.
23 a day. That's the average.
That's a lot.
Farting is a sign of a healthy gut.
Don't let Bill Gates know about that. He's going to try to eradicate us like they do the cows.
I'm always talking about how coffee's good for you. Farting is good for you. It says you have a healthy gut if you fart. Most of the gases that pass is odorless. Yep, that's true. The more offensive the farts are made of hydrogen and methane formed by bacteria, fermentation, and undigested food or sugars in the colon. Okay? So it's funny, like if I eat baked beans, there's sugar in there. It makes sense.
Hashtag listens closely. JJ Fact Checker writes in and he says, thank God you can't smell the radio.
KCOZ. KCOZ. It's time to play Know the Show.
All right, Know the Show. We're going to send you to Black Flag. They are going to the Siren in Morro Bay. Show is coming up a week from this Thursday on the 23rd. You can go to goodmedicinepresents.com to buy your tickets to them. Win them today and the rest of this week with us if you know the show.
All right. Jeremy and I both agree that every Waymo needs one of these. If you know what it is this morning, 805-543-3693. We will send you to see Black Flag. Will you ever ride in a Waymo? Ever in your life? If you
maybe, sure.
If it was sitting outside the airport in a city that you go to that has it, and you're like, hey, would you try it out right now?
If I couldn't get an Uber or any other ride, yeah, I would. Instead of waiting around for like an hour, or a half hour, sure, I'll try it. Have I had a few drinks on the airplane?
I'm gonna, yeah, exactly. Lower those inhibitions a little bit.
805-543-3693. Hey, Big Gary, how you doing, buddy?
Pretty good. How are you guys doing this morning?
Pretty good.
Couldn't be better. Better than we deserve.
What do we think that we need to have installed mandatory in every Waymo?
The red abort button.
Yes. Stop it.
There you go, buddy.
Thank you.
Every piece of like major machinery that is like operated by humans has this on it. I remember I was on it like this kind of weird, I don't know what it was. It was like kind of an amusement park / farm in the Pacific Northwest. And it was an amusement park, but it was like kiddie rides. And they had the most intense ride was like this little roller coaster, but it was an older roller coaster. And you could tell that they bought it secondhand. They bought it secondhand, big deal. I'm not to judge. But I was riding with my daughter, who was probably 3 or 4 at the time, and we're riding it, and each time we watched it, it would go around 3 times and then stop and then let the next people on. Well, we go around 3 times, and then we go a 4th time, and I'm like, that's weird. Maybe he wanted to give us an extra ride. Maybe he thought my daughter was cute. That's cool. And we go around a 5th time, and I'm like, that's really weird, because there's the line. I'm watching the line. It's getting longer and longer, and people want to ride this thing. We go around a 6th time, and I see the 19-year-old kid sitting there slamming his hand on the red button. And I'm like, oh, God, are we stuck on this thing forever?
Jeff and Jeremy in the Morning podcast brought to you commercial free by another podcast. You've subscribed to ours, now subscribe to theirs. It's the Slow County Real Estate Podcast with Hal Swayze. When you're done with this, go listen to something that will actually enrich your life. California DRE 01111 911.